Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this is going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video about the best Void Legendary in the game. I hosted a poll that you can see over there on the right, and the results really surprised me. It did not go how I thought it was going to at all, so I thought it would be worth diving in and talking about this because Void Shards are arguably the most sought-after resource in the game, and Void Legendaries are the toughest champions to get in the game, so we will rehash the Void Legendary tier list and also talk about the voting here and maybe why it ended up going how it did in terms of Krisk winning very easily as the best overall Void Legendary in the game. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, right out the gate, about once a week or so, I like to remind those of you that aren't subscribed to go ahead and do so, because things like this that we do here in the community daily to keep you in the loop of how people are feeling can be a great resource for you while you are on your raid journey, like seeing how many players are participating in certain events and seeing which epic to keep in the fusion if you're not going for the legendary and all of that. But in this video, I want to talk about this poll revolving around the best overall Void Legendary champion, which we can see that Krisk won very easily at 52%. No one was even close. We actually have a tie for number 2 between Akrizia and Sify, but both of them under 20. And then Yumiko bringing up the rear here at 10% in the number 4 spot, which is not how I expected it to go at all. The way that I would have thought this was going to go is Sify number 1. Number 2 had probably Yumiko. And then number 3, probably Akrizia, and then number 4, Krisk, if I had to guess beforehand. But I would have thought that it would have all been pretty close. I wouldn't have thought one would be like over 50, and then one would be at 10. And the reason that my thought process would have been kind of like that is that Krisk is one of the older Void Legendaries, so I would have thought that the viewers would be more into the shiny new toys, which would be Akrizia and Yumiko, which I thought would kind of get them a little bit of favor in the polling, but it ended up not going that way at all, and people coming out in droves to show respect for the old, tried and true Krisk. I also thought that people would really like Sify because of the revive and how godly she is for progression in the arena. We've seen Krisk fall off a little bit in the arena. He's still decent in the arena. It's not like he's trash, but he's nowhere near what he was 2 years ago when he was a great kind of meta champion in the arena, and you saw him a lot more back in the day than you do now. I barely ever go against Krisk. I'm in Gold 5 of Classic Arena, and I'm in the higher tiers of Tag Team Arena as well, and it's extremely rare that I go against Krisk, but a year ago, it was extremely common, and almost like half of the high-level teams would have Krisk in there in like a defensive stance on a team they've got together. So I would have definitely thought that Sify would grade out as number 1 in terms of just general utility with being the support and being a tandem with Rotos and being able to revive and being a person that can help you 3-star one of the hardest factions to 3-star in the Undead Hordes. Faction Wars, really surprised that Sify did not end up at number 1. But let's pull up Krisk and talk about maybe why he ended up being voted very easily as the number 1 overall Void Legendary. And as we do so, I do want to quickly acknowledge that I'm not saying the viewers are wrong, by the way. I'm just saying it didn't go how I thought it would. I kind of agree. I think the voting was pretty accurate, and it surprised me a little bit because I thought that the viewers, based on comments I see and stuff, would be in love with Sify. But if you look on our overall tier list, we do have Krisk way up there as one of the best overall champions in the game, and Akrizia kind of bursting onto the scene, and Yumiko in that top row as well with Sify. So thought it would be a fun poll to try to get some dissension amongst those top tier champions. So then when we look at Krisk and we talk about why he is just so insanely generally useful, I think for like super early game players, the passive is just so ridiculous. You're getting that constant shield on your whole team, every dungeon wave to help you climb and progress in your dungeons and get better and better gear. And then you're also going to constantly have that defense down and that attack down, which are very, very crucial for progression based on him getting hit, which he is going to be getting hit because he does place an AoE provoke broke when you book him on a 3-turn cooldown, and he can also self-buff his own defense, which is going to pair with his ally protection while also placing his own heals on himself and increasing the duration of all buffs, which is going to help your team be even stronger while they're being protected. And if that wasn't enough, the AoE A1 that is going to place the decreased speed, which allowing you to get a lot more turns than your opponents. And he also is very tanky, scaling with defense, and he's not one of these support champions like Bad Alcazar or something where they scale with attack main stat, even though they are a support. So yeah, that kit is just ridiculous. Early game, mid game, end game, and so generally useful throughout all content in the game that I think the viewers did a really good job with the vote, and I would agree with ranking Krisk at #1. I'm just surprised. I would have thought that the viewers voted the Siphi #1, and I'm also surprised that Yumiko came in dead last at 4th. I thought with her being kind of new in the game, people would have been excited to vote for her, and with her having a mechanic similar to Kaimar, it's very surprising that she very easily was down at the bottom at rank 4. And when Yumiko got released to the game, we saw this Dance of Time A3, and we thought, holy moly, this is like a Kaimar and a Warlord in one champion. This is going to be ridiculous. This is going to break the game. We've got decreased the cooldowns of all ally skills by 3 turns, which, you know, 75% of the time is going to reset the skill, because most of your booked up skills for the champions that you're going to be using to take advantage of this, that's going to lower it to being ready again the majority of the time. And then also increase the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 3 turns, not even 2 turns, but 3 turns, and then will not decrease the cooldowns of this champion's skills, meaning you can't have like multiple Yumikos. But I think maybe her value got overestimated because this is a 5-turn cooldown. It doesn't book to 4. If it booked to 4, then I think Yumiko would be getting some more votes for that #1 spot. And then also her kit is a little bit weird besides that. Like there is no doubt, I think, among anybody that plays Raid that this ability is extremely strong. It's one of the coolest, most fun, most impactful, crazy abilities in the game. Like if there was a list of the top 20 abilities in the game, I'm sure Dance of Time would be on there. I'm sure like you know, Kaimar's cooldown reset and stuff like that would be on there as well, because that's just such a powerful mechanic. But like her A1, like, I mean, okay, and the A2, you know, it's around like Hex and working with Karato, which didn't end up being a champion that ends up getting used a lot. And the passive, I mean, it's Veil on this champion only. So I like the kit around this amazing Dance of Time ability seems to be a little bit wonky or underwhelming or whatever. So even though Yumeko has this amazing Dance of Time ability, maybe not enough to kind of push her over the general utility of especially someone like Krisk, whose kit is just bonkers and bringing constant stuff at you with every single ability that he has in his kit. And about Acrisia, I thought the vote getting would be a little bit more even. I thought Acrisia would get some, like some ancillary votes just because of the A1 that scales with enemy max HP and just cranking out so much insane damage. I think she's one of the most sought after, most desired champions for endgame players. Maybe not near the progression champion that someone like a Siphi or a Krisk would be early game, so I think that knocked Acrisia down a little bit, but definitely an insane, ridiculous champion to be added to the Void Legendary roster that brings amazing damage and utility to the game. And yeah, Siphi, the old tried and true. There isn't really a whole lot to talk about. You know, I was a little bit surprised because especially with the new dungeon, the Sand Necropolis, I thought people would be really excited about her A1 sleep. It's got a weird qualifier on it though, so it's not as reliable as you would think it is. And then, yeah, obviously the rest of her kit is just ridiculous with the revive and the speed and the defense and the block debuffs and the increased attack and the crit rate and all of the crazy stuff that she does, the passive and the pairing with Rotos. I already described all of it, but yeah, I definitely thought that she would be voted #1, but I do agree with the viewers. I think like me and Scratch have talked about this a little bit, how we think that Krisk is the overall best champion in the game, and like kind of when Krisk's value in the arena was taking a hit within the meta of Raid is when the Hydra came out, and then Krisk is just ridiculous in the Hydra. So as soon as he was kind of falling off somewhere that gave him value, boom, he got a big influx of value by that new Hydra content being added to the game. And like I promised earlier, we do have the overall tier list that we kind of pull up constantly and talk about as a team and slide things around. And you do see Krisk coming in. We agree with the viewers, with Chris coming in at number 1 on the overall Void Legendary tier list as well. Acrisia at 2, Siffy at 3, Yumeko at 4, and we're always adjusting this and moving things around as we kind of gather more information and more input from as many different people as we can to try, you know, and keep something impossible to make perfect, at least as accurate as we realistically can. So yeah, thank you to everyone who voted, and we have Chris coming in as the number 1 Void Legendary in the game, the viewer's choice best overall Void Legendary in Raid Shadow Legends. And thank you to everybody who participated in the poll. That'll do it for me on this one. Remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Raid Shadow Legends content. I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.